Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Paranormal, the New Normal. I'm your host, as always, Jeremy, here trying to make the world seem a little more normal. Does it ever happen? Oh, God, no, God, no, God, no. We discovered this over the last 3 years. But guess what? Today, we're going to kind of talk about current things that are not normal happening around the world. And to do that, I am bringing on a guest that was formerly on Maniacal Music Musings for an episode. And when I saw some of the things he's worked on, I'm like, oh, I got to have you on my other show too. It's just, there's no way it's not happening. So, folks, let me introduce a man with a great name, I must say, Jeremy Norrie, director and producer of many interesting paranormal documentaries. Welcome, fellow Jeremy.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
I'm happy we can finally get this going, and I am. What sparked your interest into the paranormal originally? That's always where I got to start these things off.
Oh, wow. I had an interest from childhood. When I was a little kid, my parents took me to see Star Wars at a very young age. And I had like a weird dream that I used to have when I was really young that was kind of like had a space moment in it. And I've just always loved space. I even remember at school, like trying to like pretend that I was a robot and see if other kids would kind of like think that maybe something was going on with me. I just always loved sci-fi stuff ever since I was a kid.
Yeah. As long as you weren't like that dude from Grandma's Boy when you were like in your 20s, then we're good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, honestly, I kind of lost connection with it as I grew up, and it became kind of like this silly thing, and people thought about it in this way that you have to be crazy to think there's aliens or these other mythical creatures. But I had a friend come over to my house. I sold pot. And I had a friend come over to my house from far away to buy some pot, and he had been listening to Coast to Coast the whole way.
Art
And,
Bell. Gotta love good old Art Bell.
and we had this whole discussion. He had seen an episode with James Gilliland, who is a famous guy. He has this like ranch where they see UFOs, and he's had like TV shows out there. And they were going back and forth, and they were asking him pretty sensible questions to debunk why this would be seen as fake, and he had really reasonable answers. So from that point on, again, I became interested.
Good. I mean, it's actually kind of funny because that's why I always say when people ask me on when I'm on other people's shows, they always say like, "Did you always love the paranormal?" I'm like, yes and no. I mean, it started off early, but it waned. Like it waned, and it would come back, and it would wane and come back because society wasn't ready for it yet. They just weren't. Besides, all my fellow nerds that would be at Comic Cons and at X-Files conventions, like people were not ready for it. Like it's just the way it was.
We were experiencing a lot of the same stuff in that way.
Which I don't know if we talk. I don't know if we this came up on Musers or not, but I was born in '88. When were you born? Or what year were you born?
Oh, I was born in '78.
All right, so we got a decade between us, but I mean, okay. I guess a decade between us, but we were still going through the same things at the same time, kind of. I mean, the '90s. Once the X-Files was over, nobody wanted to talk about paranormal anymore. Like it was like that was the heyday in the '90s. It was when the X-Files was on, but after that ended, it seems like it kind of got pushed into the back rug until like the late 2000s, early 2010s. And
yep, that's what it was like for me too. And so, I had ups and downs the whole time too. I felt like it was a roller coaster where you'd have like moments where it would get like, oh, this thing happened and now we're all talking about it, and then that would kind of be debunked and it would go down the hill, and we had to kind of go through that numerous times over the last couple decades.
Well, actually, it's funny you say that because I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Facebook over the last like week or two. There's now a documentary out there apparently of people trying to say that the Patterson Gimlin film was a hoax. And
yeah. So I did this documentary a few years ago called "Bigfoot Isn't Real," and it was an experiment. We had a few virally successful documentaries from the other perspective where people were talking about Bigfoot, similar to how I just described the UFO topic, where I would kind of ask them, here's what people say, and what counter argument do you have to these things? and they had relatively good answers, reasonable answers for the most part. And a few of those movies did pretty well. And we thought, well, I wonder if the opposite perspective would do well, because I'm not convinced. I'm on the fence. There's things that have made me say, oh, maybe Bigfoot could be real. But a lot of this stuff definitely seems fake. And this new movie is very controversial in the Bigfoot community. I keep seeing them talking about it. They apparently have, I have not seen the movie, but I've interviewed a makeup artist from Hellboy, and he worked on Jurassic Park. He worked on all these like super blockbuster movies, and he's works for a very prestigious special effects and makeup and all that kind of stuff company. And he gave a really great answer as to why he thought the suit was fake, why he thought it would be entirely possible to fake the film. And then he actually sent me the link to the SXSW entry. It's in a film festival right now. So from what I understand, that's the only way you can see it. And there's word that it's coming out, or it was supposed to be on Plex, but then maybe it wasn't on Plex. And they allegedly have new footage, and like from back then, proving that the Patterson Gimlin film was fake. I believe they have like his son talking about it. And there's people who are very convinced that have been believers, but then there's believers who are not very convinced, who will defend this as fake no matter what. So I don't know where we're at with it.
I mean, I haven't seen this yet either, obviously. I haven't seen any documentaries in a long time. I have a freaking 1-year-old. I don't get to watch much TV of my own, and if I do, it's movies from my brackets on my shows. It's not things I want to watch usually. Oh God, I just watched Sharkula last night. That was the biggest piece of crap I've ever seen in my life. But I swear to God, these people that put out horror movies making them like it seems like they're making them on freaking like cell phones. Like what the fuck? Stop making this shit.
They are making those are called uprights now. And the big thing in independent filmmaking is that a lot of people don't know this. Say like 90% or more of these movies are now fundraiser campaigns where the people are paying to be in the movie. They're terrible actors, and it's a terrible place for independent movies right now.
And of course, I start with all the freaking movies in the brackets that are on Tubi for free, and that's where a lot of these crap. That's where a lot of these crap movies end up. It's on Tubi for free because why not?
That's like the only place they can for sure get up. So,
yeah, Tubi or Plex. I mean, they're usually on one or the other, but or Zumo's starting to play a little more too towards them. But it's so yeah. That was a little side note, but that was like, oh my God, the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. But I am on the camp. The Patterson Gimlin film. I've had so many people who are experts on Bigfoot tell me that video cannot be faked. I mean, because it came out in '67. Look at Star Trek. Look at the aliens suits they were putting on the characters in Star Trek. You can't tell me that those look real. The alien suits in that show did not look like real aliens. They look like people in costumes.
So this is a common thing, but the special effects guy had pointed out numerous things. In fact, I believe he even pointed out Planet of the Apes costumes were around that time.
Which they look like freaking LaToya and Michael Jackson Planet of the Apes costumes. Don't get me wrong. That's all I've been since I was a kid and I watched those movies. I'm like, isn't that just the Jacksons? But because that's what it looks like. I mean, it's there. I like the new Planet of the Apes. Now that's fucking good movies, but it's the effects weren't there for them to fake it. I don't think back then. That's at least that's always been my view on it. Is the effects weren't there yet. Like nobody. I mean, I actually have never talked to anybody on this show who said that they think it's a fake.
Okay, so I've talked to lots of people who think it's a fake. The special effects guy basically completely debunked all of that kind of stuff. He like referred to dates when things were possible. He thought it was entirely possible to make a costume at that time. And then these are people who I think it's very important to talk about knowledge. And like, I've never made a costume. I'm just looking at this thing. I'm listening to these Bigfoot experts be like, oh, the muscles move over here and da-da-da. And it's like, it's totally ridiculous in a lot of ways, because I've been part of so many things where people were talking, even me, where people were talking about things like, although this is obviously the true story, and it's totally a fake thing, not real at all. And so, like it becomes, oh, okay, who would know if you could make these things fake? Well, obviously, people who make costumes would be able to know, and people who've done this prestigiously, and they pretty routinely think that this is fake. So I'm not sure there's any of them that think that the costume is real. So that's pretty powerful. And then on this, they apparently have the costume in the movie. So
The I mean, I gotta see it to even begin to consider it as a possibility of being a fake. Because I mean, that was the other thing. In '67, Bigfoot was not a hot topic. It wasn't a thing that people talked about like they do nowadays. It was more of a people who saw it talked about it, and so I feel like why would they want to fake it? Like why? Like
Oh, I can tell you why. Because there's money in it. Because Bigfoot is one of the only things that isn't copywritten. So you can actually take Bigfoot and make as much stuff as you want about it. It's not like Mickey Mouse or something else. And everybody knows Bigfoot. So there's that. There's also all these crazy people that want to believe it no matter what. And, there's so many situations where their evidence has been completely debunked and they still just believe it no matter what. And so for me, it's all about evidence. I mean, this is one of the things I love about the UFO community, because they're getting government redacted files. They're getting all these things where it's like multiple redundant levels of evidence. You got like this camera, you got a heat signature, you got eyewitness, you got everything. And then Bigfoot, there's almost nothing. And then every single time I've ever been told, oh, we have hair that we've tested. Well, if you follow that, they eventually prove what those hairs are. It just takes a little while. It might be a couple of labs, but there's no hair that exists that everybody's like, oh, this is obviously from an undiscovered species. That doesn't exist. That's a made up thing.
I mean, well, okay, a couple things I want to touch on that statement right there because you want to talk government, okay? So the government, to my knowledge and to my understanding, knows Bigfoot is 100% real. They know it.
Exactly. This is what they say. Mm-hmm. So where's the files?
Well, I mean, well, in the book of secrets with everything else, I'm sure, but it's
even a redacted file, anything. Give me something that says that they're talking about this.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that you can find pictures of online, and it does exist. There are national parks where there are warning signs about what to do if you run into a Bigfoot.
There are. There's also laws about shooting Bigfoots, but this is not evidence of Bigfoot.
But why would these things exist unless there
Because
really
you have
was?
a lawmaker who is very dumb, who believes in Bigfoot, who decides to make this law. I mean, we have all kinds of crazy laws.
I mean, I've had people on the show even that are Bigfoot researchers, and they will tell you. Like, I've had people that have seen Bigfoot multiple times on this show. I'm in groups on Facebook of people who
So
see
that's the
Bigfoot.
most compelling thing. When you have somebody that seems so very honest and they have this experience, they obviously have no evidence of it because there's no good evidence, basically. And then they all hate each other's evidence, right? So as you start interviewing them all, you're like, what about this evidence? And they're like, oh, that's fake. And then they go on to explain, this is a Bigfoot expert now explaining to you why this is fake. And I've never encountered one that they all think is real. They all think they all are fake. So
I mean, well, see, that was the thing. The one that pretty much 99% of people I talked to always said was real was the Patterson Gimlin.
That's
always
the only one that they've all, a lot of them, not all, a lot of them think is real. And now basically you have the opposite. You're going to have a very small minority of them that are going to hold on to this and they've got these weird conspiracies about how this isn't the real suit and this and this and this. And obviously the sun is lying now. The sun.
Well,
whatever.
I mean, I could see the sun doing it now for a money grab. I honestly could.
There's no money in not proving Bigfoot's real. There's money in our Bigfoot movie that was against Bigfoot makes almost no money whatsoever. but all the Bigfoot movies that are about Bigfoot is real make tons of money.
Well, I mean, there would be money though if if he's trying to prove that a legacy in paranormal community
There'd
is
be
fake.
money if you could prove it, maybe. But even then, like it's to me, I just hate lies, and I hate people that are going to believe stories without evidence. And so you'd have to have. I mean, we got more evidence that Jeffrey Epstein did stuff than Bigfoot. So
Well,
like where's the evidence? Like I didn't think we'd ever get that. So
well,
I'm
I
looking
mean,
for the Bigfoot stuff.
I mean it exists. I mean, the famous legends of Bigfoot stumbling out of forest fires, basically almost dead, and ambulance workers picking him up and putting them into the freaking ambulance, and then those ambulance workers are never heard from again. What do you think happened to them? The
Yeah,
government
I've
fucking
never
took
seen
took them.
proof of that because that sounds like a made up story.
Yeah, I mean there are multiple people there. There are multiple witnesses there that they'll witness the Bigfoot coming
Where
out
are
of the
the
forest.
witnesses? Where's the evidence? Let's see it. This
Oh,
has to be referenceable and documented because people say, oh, so and something, but if you don't have proof of the thing, then it's a made up story. One of my friends is Gino. His brother is AJ. They have the show The Y Files. Now, everyone thinks AJ is a wonderful guy, but AJ basically don't believe in none of this stuff and is constantly debunking almost every story in the best way possible. He's basically debunked almost everything. And there's few things that we all are wondering about. And, when I see Gino, he believes a lot. And we're at these different events trying to find things to investigate. And we want the truth. There is more to this life than what we're being told. And
oh God, yeah.
I want it. I want to see. All this stuff is extremely fascinating, but it's so counterproductive when you have these guys just talking about stuff and nothing. And even then, we can't all be right. There's not going to be 100% correct people in this world. Some of us are going to be wrong.
Oh, I mean, obviously, it's.
You know.
I mean, well, I mean, all people who said that Roswell was fake for 70 years are obviously wrong. But it's okay. What was I gonna say? I mean, it comes down to basically the fact of the government obviously knows about Bigfoot. There have been people in the government who have said that they know about it, and it's it brings to mind the question though of, I mean, I'm famous for saying when they announced during 2020 about UFOs, I was like, wait, the next pandemic we have, they're going to announce something about Bigfoot, and
Yeah.
lo and behold, they probably will. But whenever that
Well,
comes,
there's
I mean,
always somebody trying to make some money. Like my friend just sent me this video of a Bigfoot suit in the middle of a forest, and he's like, "Oh, look, it's so gullible." And then the slightest amount of research is like, "Oh, this guy's faked stuff a whole bunch of times." Like,
yeah, I mean, that's the problem with the internet today. With social media and the internet nowadays, people have the ability to do these fakes more than ever, because it's not like it used to be where you'd have to actually get a film camera and go out and film it somewhere and then
yeah,
find a way to release it to people and get it out there.
well,
Nowadays, you film something and post it on Facebook, and thousands of people see it within minutes. It's
people are just so too quick to repeat nonsense with no evidence. If there's a government guy that talked about Bigfoot, what's his name?
off the top of my head, I do not have it actually, but I mean, I see, I am horrible. I am horrible with names.
Problem.
I,
So we have to be able to prove the things that we say. If we're going to say things, we have to be able to prove them.
well, let me ask you this: straight out, do you have any belief in Bigfoot or no? Like, do you
Like I said, I want to believe. There's a couple people that I've seen tell these stories, and they seem so honest and truthful. And granted, there's a few things that go towards the truth of Bigfoot, right? And maybe this animal did exist or whatever it is. A lot of people don't think it's an animal and think Bigfoot dematerializes. I've talked to people who think Bigfoot doesn't throw rocks. He levitates them and then sends them out into the forest.
I mean,
So,
I
like these are the things, right? But the things that are truthful, Native Americans have hundreds of words for this weird thing, this man in the forest, this hairy thing, hairy ape, whatever creature, this, scary monster in the forest. There's a lot of names for this thing. There are animals that seem like they could have been maybe mistaken as a Bigfoot type thing, right? So there's stories that kind of go along, and then we have these like undiscovered, the Hobbit. I forget how to say that name. It's such but the Hobbit,
the orangutan,
Oriensis, or wherever it is. And there's all these things that kind of lead towards maybe there's other undiscovered stuff out there. Sometime every year we're discovering 1,000 something new things, and some of those are relatively larger size animals, not often, but every once in a while. And so all of these things kind of go towards maybe it could be real. But like for me, the more you interview Bigfoot people, the less you're going to believe in Bigfoot. And the more you demand evidence and the more you research that evidence, the less you're going to believe in Bigfoot.
See, that's why like I don't make it a habit of going out and looking for Bigfoot people to interview, because that's not one. I'm not a Bigfoot podcast exclusively. That's not what I'm trying to do. Because I would have got bored of that a long time ago. But I think if I did only Bigfoot, because I've done 300 plus episodes, and if I did them all on Bigfoot, I think I'd be.
You probably make money initially. You maybe might want to consider doing more Bigfoot stuff.
But I've had a handful though of Bigfoot experts on, and the reason I believe them and trust them is because they don't come out here saying like I have proof. They don't come here saying that, because they say I have footprint casts. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
A lot of
people. Their career's over once they make a really, really bad lie.
Well, I mean, there's this Facebook account that I was talking to for a while that they're in a Bigfoot group I'm in, and I knew them before that they were going to come to my podcast, but they don't want publicity. That's the thing, is they don't want publicity. Their Facebook name is Book Authors Joseph and Annie. They don't advertise their last name or anything about them, but they live supposedly in the woods, and like they're right off grid, and they live in basically a what they call a Bigfoot sanctuary. And they post these pictures constantly on Facebook. But that's the thing. There's no pictures that just show a big hairy thing in the woods. There are pictures where usually it's the young ones sitting in trees in the Bigfoot nest, which everybody knows that Bigfoot keep their young ones in nests in trees. That's a common thing. Mm-hmm. And you'll see part of them. You'll see you may see like a little bit of what you think is fur behind leaves and stuff, but they're not there trying to say like, oh, you have to believe it. They're saying this is what we document on the family that lives near us. If you don't want to believe, that's up to you. And that's the people I respect. They're not out there looking for publicity because they don't want people to know who they are, even because they don't want to endanger. They don't want people trying to come and hunt them or capture them. They want to protect these creatures.
Mm-hmm. And people also don't like to get made fun of. And I know numerous people that I was in the weed industry. People have told me Bigfoot stole their weed. They don't want any publicity either, and it's obviously fake. There's a whole bunch of stories that are, oh yeah, he takes pictures. A Bigfoot family comes down to their property. There's baby ones. I'm like, where are the pictures? There's no pictures. And the hardest thing to talk about is when somebody, and granted, I get this, like you saw Bigfoot. And then people are like, it was probably a bear standing on its back legs. And you're like, it's definitely not a bear. Like I saw this thing. And so I get that you have an experience where you had like this very good report, this evidence of whatever kind that you were able to get visually. And you saw something. And then what could it be? You went down the line of things that it could be. And like, you can't reproduce this thing that you saw. You can't show that image. People can't do Minority Report and like view the thing that you saw through, not yet.
I know. I actually do know people that can do that, but
there's people who allege that they can remote view and do all these things, but there's no concrete evidence of this. There's no way you could prove this. This is not,
Well, I mean, actually, surprisingly enough, I used to do a show called Global Strangeness. It was a paranormal show. And one of my co-hosts, Deborah, during COVID, she took classes on how to dream walk, how to remote remote project, and all this good stuff.
These, I believe, are real, but that's
Yep.
not seeing an image in my brain.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing is, she said a bunch of the people in the class with her were New York City detectives.
Oh, I
Who,
understand. Yeah, the government. Look, this is another thing that I talk about, and actually, I'm very, very deep on this kind of like telepathy and this world in which these things are happening. And probably, I was actually a little bit more of a believer in it until the person that I respect the greatest about this, the person who did the telepathy tapes, Diane Hennessy, was talking about how she thinks this might just be a really, really, really fine-tuned level of hearing, not actually seeing some sort of image sent mentally into someone else's brain.
I mean,
And she did the telepathy tapes. So
yeah.
if there's anybody who has greater evidence than Diane Hennessy, I would love to talk to them.
I mean, but government. What about all the government redacted files from the Montauk Project and from what's the other one? Shit.
We're
Well,
talking about this a lot. And so the hope is that there's truth to that stuff, but there's a lot of government redacted files that are considered disinformation. They're fake and they're not real things. And they were things that were being talked about to be distraction. And so that could also be. And then there's also the investigating this and not getting the results that you wanted to get. So all of this stuff is very important. And there have been people who have found people that were murdered and these things and remote viewed and were able to describe exactly where the things were. And these are very incredible powers. I've never met anybody who could do this very specifically, and I'm deep in this community. I meet a lot of these people, and
what's her
there's
name?
C5 events that we do with Chris Bledsoe and different people who are like well known in this world for being able to do these things. And they're not very, the people that want to believe, and the people that think they're skeptical walk away still very skeptical.
If I could figure out her freaking name, because I had a guest on a while back now, last year. I think it was definitely last year, but I can't find her freaking name now. She's in these files of downloads of episodes I have to release, but I don't know. I can't.
I
I'm not gonna say.
believe that remote viewing is
I mean,
possible, and
I
I
literally,
think that astral projecting is possible. I think that all of these things, if you've ever had a lucid dream, that's an incredible, amazing experience. Some people don't think that's real, but I know a lot of us know that that's real. And so maybe there is truth to these things. I'm currently working on a project on experiencers who I've got a lady that talks to dogs and cats and they talk back to her. I've
that's
got
like
a lady that got a message from a dolphin that taught her about fractals, and she's created some sort of tool about that. I talked to a lady that channels the Pleiadians just like a few days ago. I'm talking to somebody who channels the mantis aliens in a few days. I'm surprised there's not somebody out there that talks to Bigfoot. Maybe there is,
oh,
but if there is, I'd love to talk to them.
I,
Um,
I, I the head of the biggest Bigfoot group I'm an admin of. I could
They
definitely hook
channel
you.
Bigfoot, huh?
Well, he doesn't channel Bigfoot, but he has had multiple interactions with Bigfoot. He's from Tennessee. It's a it's a whole South. It's a big Bigfoot area, for God's sake. Everywhere technically is, but it's. I interviewed a woman a couple months ago who she's a psychic, and she works with the cops sometimes,
Mhm.
and well, actually she doesn't work with the cops too often because she doesn't like to, but she was trying to find this missing girl for this family, and she ended up finding her. But when she did, she saw her basically and all the hints led to her being in a crate full of other people. So she actually told the family, like, I can't go to the cops for this, but you can. So the family went to the cops, gave them the information, and they actually recovered a whole cargo crate full of females.
Interesting. Is that real? Were you able to research that and see if that really happened?
I mean, I didn't get names or anything, so it's not like I could really look into it because there's thousands of crates found with human beings in them, like every year. It's a.
Sure.
I mean, Epstein files have proved that's the thing that really happens.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
It's
no, it's
I mean,
important. You have to research
and
these things and find out who's just
I
fabricating stories.
I mean it's she didn't want to give names because she wanted to protect their privacies, and I respect
Yeah,
that.
that's convenient, isn't it?
No, people want the privacy. I'm going to respect that. That's
No, I don't buy it. So like you have to show me, like that if we're gonna be honest about this stuff, we have to be honest. And like there's just too much. I'm in this community with people who tell a lot of stories. And like I will be nice to you. I have a friend who told me she was impregnated by an alien and then that they came back and took the baby away. Well, that's convenient, right? This sounds like a made up story, but I'm not mean to this lady. She believes that she was impregnated by an alien. It's if this were a real thing that happened to her, I mean, wow, how terrible would that be? Have your child taken away. But how easy is this to make up?
I mean, stories like that one I have to take with a grain of salt, of course. I mean, you have to, but
Yeah, but Bigfoot's
I mean,
obviously real.
I I've been in the woods, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I saw something that looked like a footprint. I took a picture of it, but
Sure,
I
sure.
ended
I've
up
seen
deleting the picture.
weird things,
I
but this is
I
not
ended
evidence. And have I
uh,
seen something that I thought was something and then found out what it was and been like, oh, I'm a dummy? Yeah, I think that's happened to all of us, where you thought your keys were stolen and then you find them or something.
I mean, it's I don't know. I like to. I mean, like you said, I want to believe. I'm ready Fox Mulder about all this. I want to believe.
I'm
I
not
mean,
gonna just believe though. You gotta
I mean,
show me the
I,
real deal.
well,
Like
I
I
mean,
know how liars people are.
my,
Humans are liars.
I mean, my saying on the show is, my saying on the show always is, there's no proof it's not until you show me the proof it's not real. I'll
Oh
believe it.
boy. Well,
I
I
mean,
mean, I'll, let's not proof that it's not real, and I guess it's far, far more difficult to prove that it's not real than it is to prove that it's real.
well, not. I mean, honestly, if someone's really faking something and you can catch them faking it,
You can
like it's
prove one thing's fake, but then you'll have Billy down the street that's like, I saw it. That obviously was fake, but it's still real.
oh, I mean, you gotta get the photos or video to prove it's not real too. I mean, same thing. Like if it's the same
There is
process
no
either
there's
way.
no photos and videos to prove something's not real. You know what I mean? Like you have to have case by case debunks on each individual thing, and there's no way you can case by case debunk
Well,
all the
let
cases.
let me ask you this: have you ever heard of Small Town Monsters? They're a production company that does
Of course.
documentaries.
Sure. Mhm.
What do you think of their documentaries about Bigfoot?
I haven't
Because
seen all of them, but one would imagine that this is a company that has figured out exactly what I just told you, that this is a money making topic, and they're going to come at it from the same. Look how the Y Files does their stories. They start out with the complete story as like from the believer's perspective, and AJ's brilliant. He tells it like he believes it. He speaks it with that emotion. And then I know their analytics. As soon as they get to where he says, but is it real? People just turn it off.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's when I continue. That's when I continue watching because I want to hear what they have to say about it
Yeah.
not being real. But
Anybody who's honest about this, that's what we would do.
yeah,
But that's not almost anyone, almost everyone that watches his thing. It's colossal. He says it's a pitfall, like a cliffhanger down to the bottom of the people that watch the truth. Because everybody wants to believe. They want to live in that world where this story is real.
of course they do, and it's. I mean, I actually never even heard of them, the Y Files. I never heard of them. Like,
Oh my
they're-
God, 30 million views a video. Yeah, I don't know
I
where you at.
I mean, I know Small Town Monsters. I listened to their podcast for years before they started making
This is a
documentaries.
million times bigger than Small Time Monsters.
I'm sure it is, but Small Town Monsters also is not. I've had two of them on my show. Like they're
Sure.
not out they're not out there just looking for fame. Like they
No,
they
AJ
all
won't do podcasts for the most part. His brother had to force him to go on the Joe Rogan podcast.
oh god.
It took 3 years. 3 years of him saying no.
I mean, I
This
always
isn't a
question.
person doing it for fame. He wants the truth. This is what anybody honest about this stuff, this is what we want. We want to know the real deal. It's the government lies. These investigators lie. We want the real stories. Like, why is it so hard? And like all this money that the world has become so just dependent on the money, and like it's so hard to even just stay alive. It's not even about getting rich, it's just about staying alive. And like these
Truth.
people have these shows that are just barely keeping them afloat. Like, what can they do? Of course they have to keep pushing this. They have to keep pushing it. You know, that's one thing hard for me in my documentaries. There's so much influence of me, like, yeah, just keep going out and making like these strange phenomenon ones where people like want to believe, and just feed that animal. And like I'll make a movie about diet and nutrition, and it's like the best thing. I've worked really hard, spend a bunch of money on it, and it doesn't do 1/100th of the views that Bigfoot does. And so as a documentary journalist, I want to tell all kinds of stories. I want to, go into alternative medicine and help people who are dying. But like, if I just make a movie about ghosts and that helps me get more money to stay afloat, like, what am I going to do? How many times can I just make nothing on this important thing that I want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, it's a battle. It really is. I mean, I I do episodes. I do episodes with pet. You were just talking about earlier. I do episodes with pet psychics. One of my hottest topics, and I love talking to them because they have interesting stories to tell about talking to different animals, and those episodes get listens like crazy. I talked to an actual medical doctor about they may have some psychic ability or something like that, but they're an actual medical doctor. Like they went through the schooling. They have all the knowledge. So their episodes are really fact based and really like heavy.
Yep,
Crickets.
that's what I want. I love talking to medical doctors and people that are very, very established professionally and educated. If you have somebody like one of my favorite things to do is, well, not my favorite thing, but I've listened to a bunch of podcasts about religion. And when you get somebody that's an expert on many, many religions, quite frequently they don't believe in any religion anymore. And as you kind of find a lot of these experts that really delve deep into all this evidence, you get to these weird places where a lot of it becomes very transparent, and they don't believe the way that they started out originally. But there also is very fascinating things that are legitimately unproven, that aren't made up, that are real mysteries. And these are the things that we should be talking about. Why can't we go to the Grand Canyon? There's places in the Grand Canyon that we can't go. Why aren't there pictures and evidence of these things? Why can't we do the Antarctica thing? Why can't there's like so many weird things?
Oh, those
There's like,
those are my favorite reels on freaking Facebook right now. Is all these people that supposedly I went to Antarctica and I went beyond the border and this is what I found. And you could tell they're such AI videos. That's ridiculous, but it's just entertaining as
that's
freaking.
the other thing. The AI videos now, oh my God, it is just muddying the water in a way that is so counterproductive. And
Oh yeah, I mean, in my Bigfoot group, we straight up set a rule like a couple months ago, like AI videos will not get posted. If it's
yep.
obviously AI, it's not getting posted because you're destroying
Oh,
what we're trying to prove.
this is the next step for we as filmmakers. A lot of us believe that these streaming platforms have to demonetize anything that's AI. So if your incentive for money is taken away, then maybe all this AI slop that's getting put out all the time will also go away. But it is so terrible, and it's only getting better. How long before the AI is not able to figure out that it's AI?
Seriously, I mean, all these AIs they put out of like sequels and new movies, continuations of movies that are supposedly coming out, and it's like, yeah, this looks real as shit, and it'd be awesome, like especially the animated movies, like 'cause they can do that a lot easier. Like this looks like it'd be an awesome second movie. This looks like an awesome shot of the third Incredibles movie. No, that's Disney's like, no, that's not coming out for like 4 or 5 years still. Shut up.
Oh my
Like,
God. And then the licensing of these things, like I said before, you can do Bigfoot, no problem. But somebody owns the Incredible. Somebody worked really hard to like make this thing
yep.
into what it is. And we're just gonna make these videos and no who cares? They get nothing. And like the AI music, oh my God, the AI music is such robbery. It's
I
exactly like joke stealing. And all
it
these
makes
comedians hate joke stealing, but now they love AI music. It's so
it,
bizarre to me.
it something that makes me laugh. Like there's this one group that does like all these AI songs on Spotify that are like very dirty songs, and like they're done like everything like from like 50s to current. It's freaking hilarious. Like it's
I
freaking hilarious.
always love auto tune the news, and that's kind of a version of like taking these samples of things, but at least there's some human effort in there to kind of make it into what it is. Like,
It it's scary, but so you made a documentary called Bigfoot versus Aliens. I'm kind of curious what the hell that's about because I mean, Bigfoot and aliens haven't talked about in the same circle for a long time because they do have
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of sightings where they're both there. But
yeah, like that title wasn't what I wanted to call it. That was kind of a compromise, shall we say. Sometimes our distributors also will want a certain poster. So the poster that we have for that particular movie was also a compromise. But it's about the communities. It's not really about Bigfoot versus aliens. It's about the people that believe in Bigfoot versus the people that believe in aliens. And what do they think about each other? And quite frequently, they think each other as just an idiot, and that obviously stupid Bigfoot isn't real, but aliens are real. And then obviously aliens aren't real, but Bigfoot is real. And there's a little bit of that. But then there's also some where they kind of go back, like Nick Redfern is one of the people I interviewed for that movie, and he does both things, right? Well, he'll be out investigating Bigfoot stories, and then he's also going through government files trying to figure out who the men in black are and women in black. And all of this stuff to him is very similar. And he finds the differences being like, oh, Bigfoot, you're kind of going over more physical stuff, whereas government, you're going over more like analytical government files. And there's a little bit of crossover too. So the movie itself is just kind of about that. Like, where do these things intersect and they agree and do similar things and have, you know, kind of a symbiotic relationship? And then where are they different? Where are they polar? Where are there, you know, different kinds of thoughts or opinions or perspectives, and how do these communities feel about each other, and that kind of stuff.
well, I mean, most people I know work in the same community. Like they'll research Bigfoot and aliens in the same freaking trip if they need to. Like if it's related.
I
I
would
mean,
say
full
the
time.
experts are not that way. They tend to be not like Nick Redfern, where they are either a Bigfoot expert and they do almost nothing about UFOs, or they're a UFO expert and they know almost nothing about Bigfoot. I'm very familiar with the UFO people, and I'd say less than 10% of them even know anything about Bigfoot.
See, I've had a few who say like, yeah, the extraterrestrials have straight up told me Bigfoot's not one of them. He's ultra dimensional.
Oh, I've heard that Bigfoot is actually like an avatar or something, and the gray aliens kind of transfer their consciousness into this big, durable Bigfoot body, and then they walk around Earth, and then they dematerialize back up into the ship. And there's a lot of UFO people who think you see Bigfoot in places where you see UFOs.
Well, I mean, a
Mm.
small town monsters did a whole documentary on that in Pennsylvania, and I mean, it is a very high phenomenon where you will see Bigfoot in the same area. There's been UFO sightings in the recent time. So, I mean, like look at Ohio right now. Like Ohio is blown up right now because of all the Bigfoot sightings and all the UFO sightings at the same time. And
Sure, sure. But we need
there,
evidence. You know, if we're going to do all this stuff, we need evidence. Talking about it, we've talked a lot about it. We got plenty of that. Where's the evidence? We need evidence. And so this should be their entire effort in it. Like, what was the thing I thought I heard? Capturing Bigfoot is one of the ones. That's
I
where
mean,
we're at. You know, we
I've
need something.
I've seen some I've seen some shitty AI versions of that, but
Yeah, yeah,
um,
exactly. What about the guys on CNN that rolled out the Bigfoot thing in the freezer and then they pull it out and it's a suit you can buy at like the party store? How did that even happen? How did CNN fall into that? So
I,
stupid.
I remember that. I can't tell you how the fuck they felt.
It
Oh,
was
it's CNN.
easily referenced. It was on CNN. You can look that up today. So,
Yeah, I've seen it. It's ridiculous, but
yeah.
I mean, it's well. Actually, let me ask you this: in all your travelings in this world, have you heard about Dogman?
I've done a Dogman movie.
Really?
Yeah. And
Uh,
Dogman is very similar to Bigfoot. It's almost exactly the same phenomenon. You have these various different, people see Dogman in these places, not everywhere where you see Bigfoot. It's big. Oh, and that was one of the things I wanted to mention. Also, leans towards the truth of Bigfoot that not all the Bigfoots look the same, right? So some places they say all of these Bigfoots are apes or gray and shorter or whatever. And there's differences in the descriptions of some of these creatures in different areas. And that leads towards some sort of a credible thing. So that'd be
which
nice. Very fortunate if we could
I mean,
level
well, look at the orang pendek in Asia. I think it's
Yep.
China.
Mhm.
Like that's a form of that's a version of Bigfoot basically. And I mean, you got the Yeti or abominable snowman. I hate that fucking word, but the
Mhm.
abominable snowman. You got what was it? Freaking I just
Skunk
lost that.
Ape's another good one. There was
Oh, the Yowie in fucking Australia. Like that's another form.
Yowie's another good
That,
one. Yeah,
I,
these are all great. We need
which
evidence.
to me though, that kind of the fact that there's all these different species of Bigfoot supposedly that lends to the fact that I want to think it is a flesh and blood creature. I want to think it's been here since the beginning of time and it's just very good at hiding. Which I don't know if you heard of the Hollow Earth theory, but that to me lends a lot of credence to like how these things could exist without people finding them as easy as they should be able to.
Yeah, I have a movie called Who They Are where the couple has a whole theory on inner Earth kind of concepts and whatnot. And we need proof for this too. These are all great stories. This is part of what they say about the Grand Canyon and the Antarctica.
Antarctica.
These
Yep.
are the entrances to the Hollow Earth and whatnot. And I mean,
Well,
I love the stories, but we just need more. Like these are things that we are definitely seeing as weird topics, and it does seem like there's something there, right? So like we need more.
I mean, I agree. Of course, we need more proof. We always do.
Yeah.
As humans, we're not satisfied until we see proof. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, freak. But I mean, if you think about like the fact that we proved that gorillas are real when the natives originally told the British
Yeah. 600
colonizers
years
about that,
ago, they didn't think gorillas were real. So that's absolutely true.
and I mean the colossal squid, something we only heard about in like
Mm-hmm.
sea
Yep.
legends.
And
It,
that I believe I saw like Monster Quest or one of those shows where they actually were able to get kind of some what seemed like legitimate evidence on that. And then also they debunked the rail, the flying creatures that everyone thought was real, and they were able to kind of discover that if you slow down the video that these are just insects. And that was
yeah,
on Monster Quest.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Monster Quest actually give a lot of credit to because they actually were out there trying to do the real thing.
yeah,
They're not.
good for them. Good for
I
them.
can't. I mean, I can't watch most of these shows nowadays. I can't. It's just
Yeah.
since the early 2010s, it's just been just a mess of things like that are horrible. I mean, look at Zach Baggins is a whole nother lane of that. I can't stand those fucking haunting shows. Like
Yeah.
South Park nailed them perfectly in my opinion. Like I can't stand those shows. Like it's just they are out there for money grabs, and most of the paranormal community already knows that. It's just they're
South
trying to.
Park's great. They get everybody.
They do. They really do. But what do you before? Because we are getting close to the end here. Before we do, I brought you on with one of my sole purposes for bringing you on was to talk about the 2027 alien disclosure, and
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm dying to hear your opinions on it and what you think. Because I mean,
Well, the
20,
UFO community all thinks it's BS. So they all are like, oh, the JFK disclosure came out like 30 years ago or whatever it was when they're like, you got to release the JFK files. And then here we are. We got some of them, I think, this year, or maybe it was last year, but
last year,
recently
yeah.
we got something on it. And that's kind of what a lot of the UFO people are afraid of, is that, they say they're going to release all this stuff, and then 30 years from now, we'll see what we actually have. There's also counter beliefs in the UFO world. So one of the people in our group is Danny Sheehan. He is really, really well respected in this world. He was the attorney for Watergate. He was the attorney for Iran-Contra. He's an extremely qualified, educated person. And he's got some opinions on when this is going to happen and how slowly it's going to happen and if it will happen at all. He's kind of on the more negative side of that opinion. And then we have some of the other investigators. The Hollywood Disclosure Alliance thinks that the UFO thing is going to kind of Bassett. Mr. Bassett thinks that the disclosure is coming soon and that Trump is likely to be the guy. And they don't love Trump, but they just find him as a wild card. And he's such a wild card. They believe that he's very likely to release this information intentionally or unintentionally. And
if anybody would, I mean, he's the one who released the first UFO file. So if anybody would release it, it would be him. And
well, they love that he just said, like the Obama thing where Obama said, "Oh, the aliens are real." He didn't even hear it, and they just told him about it, and he's like, "Well, it sounds like Obama released classified information," which tells us now that there's classified information about UFOs and aliens. So
I mean, I had a guest on a year or two ago, and her father was military. He was in World War II, and he told her a tale of how when they were they were on a ship, they were on a battling, and he was in the Navy. They were on the ship. They were having a battle with another ship, and he said there were extraterrestrials there on both sides of the conflict, and also that, and when the Treaty of Versailles happened after World War II, extraterrestrials attended it, and it was well known. That's why it was so closed off and secure to get in, because all the world leaders know the truth. But there were extraterrestrials there because they wanted to make sure that we basically do denuclearize, because that's something that sci-fi has always gotten right. The extraterrestrial community is extremely worried about what we'll do with new capabilities if we can get to space.
Mm-hmm. So I've interviewed one of the officers that was at the controls when UFOs turned off our nuclear weapons, and he explained to me exactly what they did and how the weapons turned off, and what he just saw an orange orb. Basically, he doesn't know what it was. And these are powerful stories. The UFO basically forced the nuclear weapons to automatically turn themselves off in a fail-safe kind of preventative way, where if they notice something that could be problematic, they automatically turn themselves off. And that's what happened, essentially.
Yeah, which, I mean, they would know how to do that because they are, from all supposed legends, they are way more advanced than we are. I mean, especially supposedly they created us too, for God's sake. I mean, I'm sure you've been down that road with some people you work with, but
there's many stories. And are they one thing? Are there 100 different species, like one of the books says there are?
I've been told multiple times there is a galactic federation, that it was taken from a real thing and that it exists. I mean, supposedly the creator of Star Trek and the creator of a lot of the creators of a lot of science fiction media.
I've been told those things too. I've been told about the Stargates. I mean, one of the really interesting things right now is a very reputable journalist just said that he was at a portal in California. And this is the kind of person that wouldn't say something like that just, freely without evidence of this, or something that they could eventually prove that this was a real statement that they did. They were actually there. I don't know. It's a weird place to be in right now. And then we do have like some people will say there's 3 aliens species, and that's it. And then some will be like, oh no, there's hundreds of aliens, and there's everything in between that. And there's people that say there's no aliens. These are spiritual creatures that exist in another dimension. They're not even physical. There's so many stories, and I'm here for it. I want to learn. I want to,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's why I started the show. I wanted to learn more about the paranormal, and I was enjoying as much as I was enjoying other paranormal podcasts. There were some questions they weren't asking that I wanted to ask, and that's why I started
Linda,
this because
Linda Moulton Howe told me people were living on Mars. Like, I don't know if she's crazy. She sounded crazy when she's telling me this, but this also is a person that seems like a pretty educated, rational person that comes from a background of journalism and, knowing how to vet evidence. I don't know. It's a wonderful time to be in the UFO world because it seems like we're almost there where we're going to be able to like prove or disprove some of this stuff. And like I was big on those mummies that Jesse Michaels did. And they rolled out these mummies and they knew some of them were fake. And then they had these super fancy ones that they didn't think were fakes. And Danny Jones' podcast just the other day, they basically debunked all these mummies and they proved they were fakes. And so now I was telling people that these could have been real. And now I'm going to be telling people that these are fakes. And so it's important to not have everything of your whole integrity invested into any of these things. The goal is truth. The goal is to be factually correct. And, how do we get to that place?
it's always a long road. It's always a long road. I mean, I've been hearing the number 2027 in my podcast for 4 years since 2022 when I started this. People have been saying psychics, clairvoyants, Reiki masters. They've all been saying 2027 is going to be a big year. It's supposed to be a huge spiritual awakening year. We've been building towards it for years now. It's going to all finally explode on 2027, and it's just weird that all of a sudden I hear this, and then
sure
we hear about alien disclosure in 2027, and I'm like, and I've heard aliens like hinted at it throughout that time too, but not as often as I did. And then
so Mr. Bassett in the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance, he coined the term disclosure. And so he was actually doing a talk about this just the other day at the Conscious Life Expo. And he mentioned that every 2 years, in 2 years, we're going to have disclosure. So I think he had very specific references to, in this thing, they said 2 years. Then here we are. Now it's another 2 years. Here we are, another 2 years. Da, 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 da. He thinks 2 years. That's what he's saying right now. He says within the next 2 years, and that puts us right in that ballpark, right? But we'll see. We'll see. The Raelians, they believe that there's a very specific window of time. So between this time and this time, and they are trying to build an embassy. And I'm just about to do a movie about some interviews I had with all the Raelian, the California Raelian community, some of the members from that group. And it was a really interesting thing to learn about their experiences. And, to throw in one more fun fact, the Raelians cloned a human. They actually claim to have cloned multiple humans.
Well, I mean, so did Epstein, supposedly, from what I'm hearing. But supposedly he was trying to create like his own little clone race. But I don't know how much of that's true or not. That's up. Once again, AI is fucking that up because they're making AI videos of
I believe the Raelians. I actually do believe they've done this. They kind of explained to me how they did it.
I mean, if we can clone a sheep in '96, I don't think it's that far-fetched to believe that we've been able to clone a lot longer than they tell us we could. And
basically the exact same science.
Yeah. I can't imagine that it hasn't been happening behind closed doors in some government lab somewhere, and that people have gone out and tried themselves after they saw it in the lab. Like
so that's actually in the movie. So he says to me, I mentioned this whole cloning thing, and he kind of says to me, Dolly the sheep, they didn't just roll Dolly out right after they cloned the sheep. They waited. They did all these tests. They made sure that it all went well. The experiment was proof of concept in a positive light. And so I asked him the very next question. I asked him, I was like, it sounds like you're telling me there's a cloned human being walking around right now. And he says to me, more than one.
I mean, doppelgangers have been a thing for a long time, and they've been increasing in popularity in the last couple decades. So, I mean, it's I could highly see it. I mean, it's I could see it. I could see it. I mean, the amount of things this government does that we don't know about, like it. You really think cloning is that evil compared to other things they've done? Like, come on now. Like, it's
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it could be used in nefarious ways, and it could also theoretically be a medical miracle for people. So
it could. I mean, honestly, I there that whole sci-fi idea of having clones in a tank, like for when you need new organs, like I don't
or
see that
receiving
being
a whole new body.
I don't see. I mean, I don't see that being a bad thing. I just don't. I mean, if I need a new liver or kidney, I'd like to have something available to give me it. Like,
The ones that would see it as a bad thing are the clones. If you were,
yeah, I mean, if they're in a tank their whole lives until you need something, then why not? But
right.
it's that's my theory. I mean, I don't know that brings into so many moral arguments there,
Oh yeah,
but
oh yeah.
it opens all wormhole. But where can people find your documentaries if they want to go check them out, or if they want to just learn more
My
about you?
website, theskyisland.com, will take you to my IMDb page and YouTube. IMDb basically doesn't look at YouTube as a real streaming site or for filmmakers or for TV or any of that stuff. So none of the YouTube links are listed on IMDb, but everything else is. So Amazon, Fossum, Plex, Tubi TV, Pluto TV, Apple TV, they're all on IMDb. So links to my movies pretty much everywhere except for YouTube through IMDb. And then YouTube, I have a special thing on my website that'll take you to all the various different places. All my movies aren't on the same YouTube channel either. So we do revenue sharing with other YouTube channels, and you can find them in various places.
Yeah, well, I am actually gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go check some of them out. I really am because I'm interested in seeing what you put out there. I mean, I don't get much time, but I'll try to find
Yeah,
out.
please do.
Yeah, I
And
would love to see.
I've got really cool ones. There's one about brainwashing nobody watches, but it's one of the movies that I think is so important for right now. I interviewed all these mentalism experts who know how to influence your decisions, and they can make you say the words they want you to say, and they can have experiences that seem like they're reading your mind, and they'll tell you we're not. And it's a really powerful thing to see kind of how they're doing that. And then the port of the story was like, hey, guys, you know how to do this. Do you see this happening in regular life? And where do you see it happening to us? And are we all victims of this brainwashing? And spoiler, we are all victims. And you can
Okay,
watch on how it's happening on the movie.
shit. I don't need to be a mentalism expert to know that, but that's for damn sure. But folks, I want to thank Jeremy for coming on. That was definitely a fun conversation. I guarantee this is going to get replayed on YouTube over and over again. I wouldn't be surprised. And you all know where you can find me. If you don't know by now, check the outro. It's all there. Shame on you for not knowing by now. And for anybody watching, it's on the bottom of the screen. Just read, read. I know people don't like to do that in America nowadays, but read. And I will be back next weekend with another interview, I believe. So have a good one, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. As rainy, as nasty as it is here, but have a good one.